Welcome to the Dice Gods. My name is Hydra, and welcome to the Hype Train. If you're here, you're probably wondering what that thumbnail with an N5 in it is all about, or maybe you have seen the stunning news that dropped from Corvus Belli yesterday that Infinity the game is about to go into its 5th edition. Didn't see that coming? Definitely on board, definitely ready to go. But what I wanted to do is put together a video for you guys that incorporates two things. One, the information that we received in the official video from the Corvus Belli YouTube channel, and also from the live stream that happened from GenCon. And for that, we put a huge thanks out to James Chavot, who, I hope I'm saying your name right. If I'm not, I apologise. I still think you're great. Anyway, James, the legend that he is, streamed from GenCon directly to the Infinity Global community on Facebook. So we then got to see the Q&A that happened at the end, with loads more information was released, more than was actually on the official video. So this is going to be an amalgamation of both those things. If you haven't had a chance to watch either, we're just trying to compress it all into one. What I will say about the fantastic video that James put up is obviously it was shot on I think on a phone in a hall. The sound quality wasn't that good. Some of my pronunciations of certain bits may be a bit off, especially when it was Carlos that was saying it, because obviously we've got a Spanish guy speaking English in the middle of a hall and there's lots of noise. I'm doing my best, but I'm sure we'll find out more about how correctly these various things should be pronounced when it gets released to the masses. So, N5, what do we know? Well, first of all, we know that it drops in October of this year, whereas there would normally be a nice long lead-in. We used to have about a year warning that this was going to happen. Corvus Belli decided to accelerate things, and that's going to kind of actually be a theme that we see a lot talking about N5. N4 is now 4 years old. N3 I think was 6 when it got taken out, so it's a bit quicker than before, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. They've clipped through a lot of story, a lot of things have happened, a lot of things have changed within the game, you know, got reinforcements and stuff, so it's time for a change. They pointed out, Carlos pointed out, this was signposted very clearly by the last book, N-Song, which brought the narrative of the invasion of the human sphere by the Combined Army to an end. So it was kind of the end of that story. I mean, Combined Army even ended up working with humanity. In that story, we got the discovery of the Abraxas wormhole and the new planet beyond that. So it kind of, it's a good pushing off point. You know, we've got new territory where the various factions can meet and clash. It's a good time for a refresh. So narrative-wise, it definitely makes sense. It definitely makes sense indeed. So this is cool. So what do we know? We have the new planet. Within the lore, JSA, Japanese Successionist Army, JSA, and Pan-Oceania got on a ship, went through the wormhole, found the planet, but there we go. JSA then took over the ship and landed. Yeah, because they do things like that. They're a bit sneaky. As a JSA fan, that's perfectly legitimate. They have had a very rough time and they deserve some good luck. So the planet is Shindu or Shintu. That's one of the pronunciation things. And it will be the base for the, I'm going to call it Shindu Wars. That's something that Carlos referred to within the video, within the Q&A session. So yeah, that's the bit of lore, that's the setup, that's where we are. Pano, JSA, on the planet, everyone else coming to, new territory, new future, where are we, what's happening? We shall all find out together, it'll be a wonderful adventure. Looking at the game technically for a minute, they laid out 5 key points of things we needed to know and their objectives within the bounds of this new system. 1, the core engine remains the same. AROs, D20s, orders, all this good stuff. The heart of Infinity remains unchanged. So anyone that was getting nervous about custom dice or anything like that, you'll be fine. It's all good. It's fine. It's staying the same. The aim here is to improve the game. They've been taking feedback from the community, looking at what's been going on in the competitive playing sphere, and taking their own ideas, and they're just polishing. You know, we're not looking at a major upheaval of the system. There's no need to massively change direction, is kind of the feel. And yeah, I get that. I get that. There's some bits of the game that you sort of look at and you think, that could be a bit tidier. That could be a little bit, but not anything that feels massively overwhelmingly broken, apart from Torchlight. According to some people, I don't have that feeling, but some people definitely think that's the case. So they are looking to then optimize the units in the game, costs and profiles, and updating to bring more balance into the game itself, which is always welcome. This is always a good thing. They are aiming to keep the momentum that Infinity has built going. I mean, speaking for myself, we continue to grow. My local community continues to grow. Attention and focus, especially with some of the new things that are coming out, some of the new media and movie releases and things, the books, all this kind of stuff is driving attention. You know, we're about to get the Hexadome Aristea game. That's going to bring people in. This is a fantastic time with all these new media that's going to feed players in to have a bit of a sweep up and a bit of a refocus. So improving that quality, keeping that momentum going, definitely, and then building on that by improving quality across the system. Now, they were particularly mentioning packaging, materials, and onboarding. So getting people into the game is something they're focusing on. They're also looking at the way that factions are updated, so that we're going to end up with a shorter, faster delivery and expansion of new released factions. So what we saw with Bakunin some time back, and to an extent with Torchlight, you got the big box, and then you got this drip feed every month. They're talking about condensing and improving the speed of that. I approve, my wallet does not. That's kind of where we are. I think it's a good idea, because there is... I know when I started in N2, it was around the time that Toha first came out. I got the starter box for Toha, and then it was kind of a bit of a waiting game until something eventually came out. It's not that bad anymore. It's you know, every month you get a drip feed, but they're talking about accelerating that, and this is a great thing. They're also talking about making more tutorial videos that focus on accessibility, and those tools and videos will cover both the basics and the advanced rules. So we're taking the onboarding side of things. It's kind of what we were trying to achieve with the Infinity Academy, which I now need to redo. Anyway, so they're looking to do that kind of idea, the thing that we were progressing through there, at an accelerated rate, and just help people get on board with the system and learn the system. So I think this is all really good. You know, core engine remains the same, improve on the game, optimize the game, keep the momentum going, and improve quality. There is nothing there that I think is a bad idea. I'm totally here for it. So this is good. So what do we know? We are getting a 2-player battle box, Operation Sandtrap. This will feature the Japanese Successionist Army, because JSA, and we're going to discuss this more in the second GenCon video. This one's only about N5. The next one's going to be about the releases and stuff. But JSA has become their own faction. They're no longer part of NA2. They are their own standalone force and will get their own sectorials. So we're getting them in the 2-player battle box. And we're also getting Pano. The Pano is Kestrel Colonial Force. That is what I believe he said. Kestrel was definitely there. Force was definitely there. I think it's Kestrel Colonial Force. KCF. Very close to KFC. I have to live with the knowledge that that's the case. So do you. So the Pano, I was hoping it was going to be Shock Army, actually. Especially when we got the new Tic Balang. But it looks like it's going to be something different. We're going to hear about that soon, I'm sure. I'm sure that's going to get drip fed, and the hype train will go explosive on us. But yeah, so we've got JSA versus Pano. This is fantastic. That will be in line with everything that we've seen before. So within Crimson Stone, so you have your 2 starter forces of 7, your dice, your terrain, your core book, everything you need to get started, and all the rest of it, and away you go. Yeah, so that's coming. That's going to be 130 US dollars. We know that. That was confirmed by Carlos at the Q&A at the end. So I think that's about where they have been historically. I don't think that's any big change, so that's absolutely fine. The growth model then continues the same, so beyond, then expansion boxes. However, one huge announcement that came into this is that Code 1 is dead, unfortunately. New communities around the world, in Chile and Mexico, were running events around Code 1, but with veteran communities, Code 1 really didn't do anything. And I can confirm that. I mean, I've been demoing Infinity for 10 years. When Code 1 came out, it was kind of I can get people there without doing the extra rule set. I can get people there with them having more minis. If I do this, then I just need to tell them what they had wrong. Yeah, I'm just going to go straight for M4. So Code 1 is unfortunately dead. That rule set is defunct. Instead, we're going to get a system called Essentials. Essentials is going to be boxes which will fit with a starter box, a smaller starter box called Start Here. The Start Here box initially will contain JSA and Pano, just like the two-player battle box, but it'll have a smaller number of miniatures. I don't know anything else about what's going to be in there. I imagine we're not going to be looking at terrain, just a small number of miniatures and a very basic get starting. The essential boxes will then build onto that. If you buy them in order, I guess, with release, we don't know, they will build rules and rules and rules and expand out and help new players get into increasingly complex areas of the game. That is where the videos are going to come in. We're going to see videos tie into those essential releases to help players grow into the system. I think this is great. I think this is brilliant. I really want to see how it's implemented. Candidly, the Infinity Academy that we have here on the channel exists because I always found the onboarding process for Infinity to be unsatisfactory, just damn difficult. Any player that I met that just dove straight into the rules tended to run into a meat grinder, with a very few exceptions. Most people just ran into a meat grinder and went, oh, you're too complicated, and left, or just tried to struggle through it, and it was not fun for a period of time. So the Academy exists to kind of be like, no, learn the basics. Hopefully this essential set will do the same. It will be very, here is a Herper Derp combi rifle. The Herper Derp combi rifle does this. And then we build onto there to, here is a knife. You put the pokey end in people. Hopefully that's the way it goes, and it really strips things out, because Code 1 was, it was, you know, dynamite to banging a nail. It was just, you just as well have gone for N4. If Essentials is way more stripped back and learns from the lessons of the two-player battle boxes, then I think that's going to be good, because the core missions inside the two-player battle boxes worked absolutely fine. They were a basic introduction. You needed to extend beyond that, you couldn't. If this then lets you, awesome. I will look forward to the videos and stuff like that. As long as, CB, if you are watching this, don't use AI voices. For the love of all that's beautiful in the world, don't use AI voices on your videos. We don't need it. No one likes it. Stop it. You've had so many other great people that have done voiceover work on the videos in the past. We don't need knockoff Morgan Freeman AI voice mispronouncing every fifth word. I can do that for you. I can mispronounce anything you need me to. Seriously. Dear God. No AI. So, that's kind of what we know from the official side of things and some of the Q&A. We have more. Stay there. The fact that things are going to be done as they always have been. We're looking at the free rules again, free PDF. This is coming in October, so what I'm guessing is that's going to be another launch week where we have all the videos out on tabletop, and you see all the introductions and stuff like that, and win a copy and blah, 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 blah. And then the PDF drops, and then the world has a medium-sized breakdown. I'd also guess that we're going to get ITS Season 16 delayed until that drops in, because it wouldn't make sense to have an ITS season that drops now to then have the rules change partway through, because that could have all kinds of side effects. Let's talk about the things that were discussed in the Q&A that weren't actually in the official video and were worth hearing. there are going to be a lot of armies that won't appear on launch. That's not they won't appear on launch. There are close to or around 40 armies in Infinity at the moment. Getting those all launched and balanced and right within a new rule set on day one is a gargantuan task, not one that they're undertaking. So we're going to end up with core factions that were going to be expanded over time. One area that was specifically highlighted as not making the cut on day one is the NA2 armies. They are not going to be in N5 at launch. There is no timeline given for when they will be out, but they're not going to be there day one. So if you are only an NA2 player, I'd suggest picking up the new 2-player battle box, Operation Sandtrap, and getting on the hype train, because otherwise you're going to have a very quiet few months, Infinity-wise. But I get that. I don't think that's unreasonable. I think whenever they put a new rule set out into the wild and they put these new profiles out into the wild, we break it. It's what the community does. And we can sit here and scream, playtest, 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 playtest. Yep, I hear you, I agree with you. But there are 40-odd armies in Infinity with hundreds of profiles within them, individual profiles. These are all being reworked and looked at and changed and points adjusted and loadouts adjusted. You know, we'll talk about this in the next video, but people are getting HMGs that never had HMGs. It's all changing up. I get the rationale behind launching with care and getting these things done right. So hopefully that will mean that the experience when these do drop will be better. So NA2 are coming, they're not there on launch. Other ones we don't know which are coming, but not on launch. One thing that Bostria discussed extensively in the Q&A is that as part of what we were talking about, sorry about the clicking, I'm moving my mouse up and down for my notes on this one, so I hope it's not too rubbish. The improving quality side of things, the onboarding also expands to launching armies. So as I mentioned before, the Bakunin launched a little while back. When that happened, that's going to be the structure but accelerated going forward. That is also going to be rolled out to armies that are currently out of production, was kind of indicated. The specific question was about Merovingian and Caledonian for Ariadne, because these guys are 2 sectorials that are currently out of production. While Carlos didn't specifically say they were coming, he did say that that's the type of thing that we brought back into N5 with a whole new set of miniatures, a whole new set of profiles, and a bit of a rework and a bit of a polish. Is that going to be everyone? I've got a very specific sensation that the Kestrel Colonial Force in the starter box is a replacement for the Shock Army. We got the Tic Balang that's just been released along with the Mechazoid. The Mechazoid is going to be for the sectorial, I think, for JSA. So it makes sense that the Tic Balang sits in the Kestrel side of things. What does that mean for ASA? Doesn't sound good for ASA. We shall see. Hopefully they come back. Anyway, so we're going to see much more, you know, these existing armies relaunched with a refresh, tidied up, and launched much more condensed way. I think that's great from a certain perspective, from the perspective of buy-in on them. That's going to frickin' hurt. That's not necessarily so good, but we'll see. Trust in the process. These guys aren't here to bankrupt us, even though it feels like it sometimes. Let's get into some of the things that were discussed with rules-specific stuff that was discussed within the Q&A. One of the first ones was whether N5 will address guided missiles. Bostria said that guided missiles will be addressed for both users and the receivers of said guided missiles. He was not any more specific than that. So we do have a guided missile change. As a Nomad player, I wait nervously. It's okay, I can't land a spotlight attack anyway, so I don't know why I'm concerned. He confirmed that the limit of 15 troopers will remain that we have from N4, so we're not going back to the N2 period of having all of the miniatures. We're now still stuck at that 15. That's driven by competitive play. Okay, fine. I've got used to it. It's fine. I prefer that we had 20. That would make me feel, 2 full combat groups would make me feel a little bit more warm and happy inside. Yeah, but Austria also confirmed that vehicles are a category that are coming in N5. That is, they are a thing in N5. Don't know what that means. Don't know how that looks. Who knows? Who knows? I guess we will see in time. But vehicles are a thing in N5. Yeah. Okay, Fusilier Angus on a Vespa. That would work for me. I could go with that. If you haven't been in long enough, don't even look up who Fusilier Angus is. It's absolutely fine. Your life is better without it. We are going to see changes to close combat. Not huge, but crits will be more effective, and there will be a greater chance of success if you have a close combat specialist attacking somebody who is a general idiot with a knife. They will have much more obvious, pronounced advantages in those combats. So crits are getting a buff. CC specialists will be more obviously specialist. I mean, we've all been in the situation. I mean, I've been on the delivering end of that. 2 games in a row, I stabbed Lilith Kusanagi to death with a Zanshi. Not a thing that should happen. Critted both times. Apparently, maybe that'd be less likely to happen. I don't know. We shall see. Reinforcements are going to be more directly integrated into N5 and into ITS, so they are going to be there. What that looks like, how that works, don't know, but they are going to be there. They will persist. As a side note, Carlos also indicated that Combined Army are going to get a rework soon with an Onyx focus. So that's the core of what I got from those 2 sources. N5 is coming. N5 is designed to be accessible. N5 is designed to be an improvement on N4. The onboarding is going to improve. We're going to have that rough period at the start where not everybody can play, or not every army can play. If you've got a single army, that's potentially going to be rough. Let's keep an eye and see what that looks like. Hopefully we'll hear in the coming weeks who will and who won't and what timelines. Much as I jest about, you know, oh, well, you're going to have a quiet time. It's not so great. And I understand that does suck. So hopefully it won't be too long. Hopefully it'll be a kind of by Christmas, everyone's there. But we shall see. The fact that it's still going to remain Infinity is good. That we're not just going to left turn into some other direction. That this is driven by narrative is good news too. If this makes it easier for people to come on board, if this sees our community grow, I'm here for it. I think it's a good call. The timing is obviously superb, with all the things that CB have lined up, computer games and shows and all this kind of stuff in the next year or so. It's going to be good to have a nice new clean deck to work with. Speaking of deck, I think the operations deck we can certainly say is going to be fine as well. It's only just dropped. If Corvus Belli redo that, I'll be shocked. I think that's going to stay the same as well, so I wouldn't be too worried about that. So yeah, the same old stuff from Corvus Belli. 2-player battle box, new rules, average Saturday. We are going to do another video that hopefully will be out tomorrow, as long as I don't have a medium-sized breakdown, covering the new miniatures that were announced and what those mean and all that kind of stuff. Tuesday we'll see the video covering the Warcry announcements that happened as well. Oof! And the miniature pictures that were out from there too. Oof! If you haven't seen, don't spoil it for yourself. It's going to be great. Beyond that, with N5, we're going to cover things as they come up. Obviously, the Infinity Academy, if you're using that, that's going to go on pause for the time being, because we're going to need to redo that for N5, depending on the volume of changes that there are within it. We shall see. Hopefully not too much. Hopefully I can just edit. That'd be great. Who knows? If you want to see more stuff for Infinity and M5 and all that kind of stuff, please consider supporting the channel, Patreon, channel memberships. It's like €2-3. It's a cup of coffee, and it really helps. It helps me take time away from my day job to do more of this stuff. So if you want to see more stuff quicker, that's how it happens. Speaking of, thanks to our channel members and our Patreons for your continued love and support, and Joe Rogers for, yeah, insert joke there. It's just like this bit of furniture at this point. But thank you all. It's helping me spend more time doing this kind of stuff. It's actually one of the reasons that we have nice new mics here. It helps. You guys are rocking it. So thank you. If you want to hear more, let me know. In the comments, let me know what your concerns are, what your questions are about M5, what you're looking forward to the most, what your thoughts are on Kestrel, Colonial Force, and the arrival of JSA as a full faction. My goodness, it's about time. But aside from that, please share, like, subscribe, comment, hit the bell, do all the good things that show you're a fantastic human being and that I'm a valid human being, because until you've pushed those buttons, I simply don't feel valid. So please get those done. And thank you so much for watching, and we will see you all again soon, tomorrow. Exciting.